What's up, Cleveland? How about them Brownies, huh? Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Let's go. I said, here we go again. It's the Cleveland Browns and it's 1st and 10. So get on your feet and let the games begin. Here we go again.
Hey, welcome to the Dawg Pound Pressbox. We are live inside Studio Squared. Nate Mullins, Tommy Hall. We got the wizard Greg Kinn on the ones and twos, helping us out, making us look good here, keeping us live. We're ready to go for another episode of the Dawg Pound Pressbox. It is a victory edition of the Dawg Pound Pressbox. Brownies 1-1 on the season, picking up a big road win in Jacksonville in the rain. Whew, man, what a big win! And they had to hold on for this one because I mean, what was it, 16-3 at halftime or something? And then Jacksonville made a comeback. Trevor Lawrence was not to be denied, but that defense said, Miles came up with a nice strip sack. I'll tell you what, Tommy. This was a game that if you look at the stats, you're going to ask yourself, how the hell did the Browns win this game? Because penalties, 13 penalties for 100 yards. How do you win a game when you have 13 penalties for 100 yards?
Yeah, you have a horseshoe up your ass. Because there was a few times I really felt like this game coming out, that 16-play, 89-yard drive that ended with a touchdown for the Browns to start this game. I think Deshaun was trying to put a lot of the detractors behind him and come out with a statement drive to start this one. And like you said, as the game started to roll on and the weather started to pick up, I think the Browns were just trying to hold on at that point. And they were able to coast through all the way to the end. Another key situation where you think the Browns going to rely on its offense, and instead on that fourth down, super late in the game, decide to go to the golden foot of Bojorquez and the coffin punt pinned the Jaguars deep. And this one we snuck out of Jacksonville with the W due to a safety. I mean, it was a bowling shoe ugly game, but got the dub, and that makes me do the tummy rub.
Your punting game basically won you this game. Because Bojorquez with that punt to pin him down inside the 2-yard line, and then Miles causing the pressure, and Jefferson. Who was it? It was Alex Wright that got the safety, wasn't it?
Their fourth on the roster at defensive end.
But that's how they do, man. Schwartz loves to rotate those guys, keep them fresh.
That shows you how stout that defense really is.
For real. They're deep, too, man. Like, especially on the defensive line. They are so deep. Lot of talent and a lot of young talent. You know, they got some veteran guys to help fill some of the gaps. Quentin Jefferson, I like that signing. He had a couple big plays today.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Shelby Harris. He had a big hit on Trevor Lawrence today. Obviously Dalvin Tomlinson, he's a force in the middle, but it all starts with Myles Garrett, man. And today he had a big sack in a big situation to help. The Jags were driving, and it shut down that drive and turned it into a field goal as opposed to a touchdown. So that's what you need from your franchise player. Now let's talk about franchise player on the other side of the ball. What'd you think about Deshaun today?
Like I said, I liked how he came out on that opening drive. It took them a little bit to get in the rhythm, but you saw a guy who was a little more confident. Just a little bit of miscommunication still with some of the key guys. Like, I don't know what was going on between him and Cooper and some of the guys that he already has noted chemistry with. But Jerry Jeudy kind of showed out today. But in some of these instances, the dog in some of these instances.
Star of the show.
I think Deshaun got us in key positions, and we weren't really defense were able to come out and keep them off the other side of the 50, and that's what you got to do to win ball games.
Sometimes that's all you need to do is keep. I mean, defense got to keep them on the other side of the 50, and that's what you did in the first half. That's really what kind of won you the first half, and ultimately, really what won you the game. Because, I mean, that's where you got
came out
most
and
of
lit
your
us up
points.
the second half.
Yeah, and you got 2 points in the second half, and it came on a safety. So
And it was enough to get out.
that's all you need sometimes. But big win for the Brownies today. Greggy, what's your thoughts today on this Browns win?
As me and Tommy like to quote the classic, I think it's, what's it, Pepe meme of the frog? It says, feels good, man.
It was good, man.
Feels good.
Feels
man.
good, man. Last week felt bad, man. Felt real
Yeah,
bad.
it did feel bad.
It was that was a hang your head kind of opening week 1 game where you're just like, God, all the anticipation and we just shit down our legs as usual.
Right. Well, I mean, Watson, I think, heard all the haters during the week, and he came out in that first drive, and I think Stefanski did a pretty good job of drawing up a game plan to kind of give him some looks on that first drive that were easy reads. You know, they spread the defense out a little bit. They give him a little bit more of an easy read. That first option is a little bit more open this week than it was last week. Maybe they were down a couple of their starting defensive backs. Maybe that had something to do with it. Either way, he had an efficient drive to start the game. What was he, like 6 of 8 for 71 yards? And then he had the rushing touchdown to get us into the end zone to start the game. So you got into the end zone. You got some positive momentum. D-Money making 3 for 3 on field goals. I mean, that dude's just about as automatic as you can get right now. 53-yarder. But
It took a page out of Schittsburg's playbook and kicked our way to a victory this week.
Take it
along
any
with
way you
that
can get it.
safety. Yeah, taking it any way you can get it.
any way you can get it.
Which is kind of funny because I talk about that 16-play, 89-yard drive to start to get us on the scoreboard. And then, like you talked about, well, none of that afterwards came by Deshaun Watson. So,
But, I mean, he had an efficient day. 22 of 34, 186 yards, 5 carries, 20 yards, and a touchdown.
he had a safe day.
Yeah. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to keep it safe. They wanted to keep the game plan safe. Now, the one thing I had a little bit of a head scratcher about at the end of the game, that third down play. What are you calling a play action there for? What are you calling a pass play for on third down at the end of the game when they ain't got no timeouts? I mean, I get it. It would have still went into the 2-minute warning, whatever, but I just questionable play call in that situation when I was like, you could have just ran the ball there, ran a little bit of the clock out.
I think Jerome Ford did a little bit better job this week finding the edge as well.
Yeah.
And getting, helping establish the run game to get us in a position to open up a pass a little bit and get D-Hop in a good position to put those field goals up on the board for us. But as you talked about, declarative statement by Deshaun Watson, I don't know if it was enough to prove the haters wrong, but I did get a kick out of the social media burner account by Deshaun Watson, but I can't even remember his Twitter handle or his name on that burner account. But I was a little skeptical at first when I read those reports, but then when you actually do a little bit of digging and you have the time on your hands, I guess definitely Deshaun. He had some splaining to do, I believe, in the locker room.
Some splaining to do.
Not too much to the players because he thought everybody rides for 4, but some of the things he said about the staff and that they're trying to plug 4 in a system that don't work for him. I mean, that's the NFL, pal. Like,
I don't know.
Sometimes especially when a franchise like the Browns, how many coaches in the Browns history, especially off this quarterback carousel, has ever even been a system quarterback for a Browns head coach? Now that you got a little bit of tenure with Coach Stefanski, I mean, you had Flacco come in. He was able to work your system. You had Baker who was able to run your offense. Yeah, a lot of these guys that you kind of put the offense in their hands, and they've been productive. Besides the guy that you're giving $232 million to.
Yeah. Well, I think he had a little bit of a bounce back game in the sense that he did make some good throws. There were a couple of good throws, Tommy. I mean, yeah, they kept the game plan safe for the most part, but there were a couple throws where he had to let it rip, and he gave us a couple good plays. Now, week 1 told me all I need to know about this guy. He's just not ready, and the offense is not ready. Week 2 showed me that they know it's not ready, so they put some safeguards in. They put some bumpers. They put some training wheels on, if you will. And that's kind of what it felt like. It's like, all right, you're not ready for this. Let's put some training wheels on and let's make sure you're ready before we take off and let you ride. That feel about right?
Yeah, but Jesus, you're 3 years into that.
But this is you're 2 weeks into the Ken Dorsey offense. He didn't get any playing time in the preseason. I hate making excuses for this guy. I really do. I can't stand it. But when you really look at it, he had no time in the preseason to prepare. They didn't put him in. They didn't give him any chance to get ready, to get reps in this offense. Everything was kept under wraps. Even the media sessions, they were like, we don't even know what the offense looked like because they wouldn't show anything in media sessions because they were afraid of people seeing the offense. Now it's like, okay, it's time to unwrap the present, and it's.
I think that's a good point you make because it's almost annoying because even with the new allegations that rear its ugly head, it's like, all right, now you're talking about potential. Like we were ready to abandon ship and go back to the drawing board after week 1. Then these new allegations came up, which could be nothing, but even though it's already made noise, people were like, well, the Browns should be able to exercise. I mean, that's a lot of unneeded stress that they put on this quarterback as well to even be like, well, is this an option? Can they really do that in that situation, talking to his agent? I mean,
Now,
I can imagine what this guy would be able to do. Talk about Deshaun Watson. If he's actually able to come in level-headed in an organization where everyone's behind him and also with a fan base that's behind him. But sometimes, man, he just got to kind of zip it because he doesn't do himself any favors.
Now, here's my question. You question the timing of the allegations coming out the day after a bad performance in week 1 when the Browns know that there are stipulations in the contract after 2 years that if he gets suspended again, and these weren't discussed in the pre-contract terms, that they could recoup this money. They could get out of the deal. Now, my point of contention to all Browns fans who think this is some get-out-of-jail-free card for the Browns, yeah, for the owner to not have to pay him, but this team is still going to have to suffer through the cap hit for the next 2 years if they have to cut this guy. And even if they don't have to pay him, it still counts against the cap. So, yeah, great. The owner, who's a billionaire, doesn't have to pay the guy who made $250 million, $100 million. Okay? But how does that really help the Browns when they still have to take the cap hit? You still had to give up 3 draft picks to get the guy, 3 first-round draft picks. It just, I don't know. To me, I question the timing of the allegations. I really do. What about you, Tommy?
I find it convenient in a lot of sense, but it's just one of those things that, as a Browns fan, it's always something, no matter, you can't just be ready for the season and be like, you know what, we're ready to go. Even injuries, the injury bug that continues to plague this squad week in, week out, the reserves today, I mean, you're talking you were without your 2 starting tackles, you had your running back, you have extensive injuries. You just want to see what this masterful roster that Andrew Berry and company have put together can actually do, given the chance. And like we talked about, too much outside noise, too many other things continue to just make it hard to not so much be a Browns fan, but just even enjoy this organization because it's just week in, week out, always something. So it's nice to finally be on the winning end of things. go into a victory Monday and kind of, put the reset button, go into playing against the Giants who are 0-2, and continue to build on some of the bright spots that we've had this season and get another week closer to hopefully getting our tackles back and also getting Nick Chubb back on the field.
And it's a great day when Nick Chubb comes back, but it's getting a little bit annoying every week seeing Jack Conklin's name on the inactive list after all week. There's a hope. Oh, there's a chance he might be, maybe. And then come game time, oh, no, he can't play. Good old Jack. He's just collecting a paycheck. It's just getting to the point now, Tommy, where I'm like, all right, can we get on with this? Like, Conklin's.
You Browns fans have
I don't know.
The one thing you Browns fans have been blessed with or spoiled with over the years since their returns, you have always had Iron Men linemen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the things is like
When you see one go down routinely, it doesn't, yeah. it doesn't
everybody
give you much
expects you to
confidence.
just be a marathon man in Cleveland when you come to the lake, but
If you're going to play offensive line for the Browns, you better be the best one ever, like.
yeah. And so the guy just continuously, it's a lot to live up to, but not much to live up to in some sense of the word. But
So, what'd you think about Amari Cooper dropping all those passes today? Like, dropped a wide open, probably would have been a touchdown. Dropped a couple other passes where, maybe one that, okay, he had a defender on him. Maybe it would have been a hard catch to make. But we're used to seeing him come down with some of these balls. Now, I guess you could blame the wet conditions, but last week, pretty convenient conditions to catch the ball in, and he just couldn't come down with them. I don't know what's going on. Is it just a timing thing? Is it maybe a chemistry thing between him and Watson?
I think it could be a couple of those things. Because again, distractions, outside noises that we keep talking about. The whole thing, even with that Brandon Ayuk trade and even him being whispered in that same breath. I mean, it takes a lot to regain not so much your confidence, but that trust and be like, hey, I'm your guy. I'm going to play for you. I'm going to play my ass off for you. And when you have those rumblings and you have those business decisions, I don't care how it is. Sometimes that stuff personally affects you to the point where, is it a detriment on his performance? I don't think so. But at the same time, it's a lot easier to play for a team that you're getting along with than when you're not.
Right, for sure. So what about Ford? He had a big first half, but didn't really see him in the second half. I don't know if he maybe got injured, maybe he got hurt. I didn't see the injury report after the game. I know, Deontay Freeman came in, gave you some good quality minutes, just over 40 yards. They combined for over 100 yards between the two of them. So you got your ground game going a little bit in this game, more than you did last game. Deshaun had over 20 yards on the ground and a touchdown. So
I don't think you blame that on the play call or on Ford. It's the penalties that eliminated him out of the game.
Yeah, and Freeman had a couple big plays that got called back because of some BS holding calls, some BS penalties. Sure. I mean, they were calling everything they saw in that game. And I think they were the same refs that were there during Bottlegate. They were just upset that the Browns were still
Don't get me started on that. That's still a hot button. And speaking of those hot buttons, Nate, I think it's time to go into some of that. Did you get through your topics thus far?
Yeah, we're good.
For the first segment? Well, Greg, go ahead and we'll pull up the very expensive Tommy Tron 5000 and talk about this week's hot buttons coming out of the week 2 against Jacksonville, down in Jacksonville, the Browns on the road. And a lot of people, from the outside, they don't really consider the Jacksonville Jaguars as much. But if you're a fan of Jacksonville, the fan of the Browns, this has always kind of been something where you don't really like them Jaguar kitties too much.
Yeah.
It's just...
Bottlegate brings back a lot of memories.
That brings back a lot of memories. And if you're a Jags fan, you don't like these Browns because now they've dispatched you 2 seasons in a row.
What is the all-time record between the Browns and the Jags? I'd like to look that up here.
They talk about kind of what that bone of contention and that hot button game. Greggy, do you have the scene of that, of what kind of started these hostilities between these squads?
Which
The
scene you're
Bottlegate.
asking for? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Which one?
That Bottlegate.
Oh, let me see here.
I don't know if that ever even sent. But yeah, against the Jaguars today on the road. Just another one of these games that you thought they're coming in 0-1. They're at home. And what were the Browns going to do? How are they going to react after week 1 against the Dallas Cowboy teams who, in my opinion, have really shit the bed against the Saints? So now I'm kind of questioning, damn, was Dallas that good, or they just have our number and have everything schemed up right against us, and we just wasn't ready for week 1 of the NFL? Because, gosh, what a whooping the Saints put on Dallas today.
Well, the Jags and the Browns were in the same division for like 4 years. They were in the same division in 95 before they left. And then 99, 2000, and 2001, they were in the same division, the AFC Central, before they shifted to a 4-division format
Per conference.
per conference. That was when they brought in the Texans to make this a 32-team league. So they made it 16 teams per conference and divvied up the divisions that way. But hey, Jags and Browns have a familiar history with each other. But, you know, the Jags took those first 6 matchups in that rivalry, I guess is what you want to call it. Since then, it's been pretty even, back and forth. All-time, Jags lead the series 12-8 after today's win. So there's your stat of the day. We're still pulling up the Tommytron. You know, we're still working through the kinks with this. It's very expensive, so we have to, you know, there's some, obviously.
I can't see what we're watching.
When you have state-of-the-art things, I can't.
There you go.
There we go. Now, this is Bottlegate. This is what's going on with Bottlegate. This is a
This is
recap.
just a video that you can find this on the internet, you know, and just look up as some of them are a little longer, 6 minutes, 11 minutes, but you get the whole history of the Battlegate and what happened that day.
So, for fans that are unfamiliar, the receiver came down with the ball, questionably.
Playoff spot on the line.
Yeah, both teams actually had a playoff spot on the line. And he made the reception, supposedly. The refs called it a catch on the field. Browns came up, ran the next play, and they called the next play dead, correct? Right as soon as the play started, they called the play dead.
And they already had run the next play.
And that's the next play. And when you think about it, in the rule books, once the next play starts, the previous play is over. You can't review it.
Yeah.
Well, they went back and reviewed it. And they said, no. Browns don't get that catch. It wasn't a catch. We made the wrong call. And that day will live in infamy.
And then
Because the Browns fans were not very happy about that call.
Yeah, and then instead of even playing out the rest of the game, they just won in 43 seconds left.
Game is over.
And then the Bud Light started coming down on them. Yep, there they are.
Go back to your homes. The game is over.
This isn't Cleveland. But yeah, that's kind of where this all picked up from.
Little
End
rivalry.
of the game. End of the game, though. Browns pick up the dub. Greg, let's go to the next clip there on the
3 straight wins against the Jags now. 2020, 2023, and 2024. Browns pick up a win over the Jaguars.
just how that game ended today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a tasty ending.
Yeah, down to the wire, really. See right there. Defense comes up in a big way and comes away with the dub. I'm sure Jameis Winston, he was eating every finger.
Crab finger?
They eat that dub.
A little chalk toss up in the air. I like that. He says,
Now, Nate, even though the Browns, they get a victory here. Last week, the Steelers, they got the only victory in the AFC North, but the rest of the AFC North, Steelers playing right now along with the Bengals, and the Ravens off to an 0-2 start, and I couldn't have them to a nicer team, Greg.
oh, I love it. It's so beautiful. What a great start.
And
for
so here's
the Ravens.
Here's the scene too, Greg. Is
Play
this
it out
game?
for
That
us.
game ends in Jacksonville.
Yep.
CBS cuts the coverage. They go to the next game, which is the Oakland Raiders kicking a field goal right down the Ravens' throat. They're at home at, what is it called?
Emmon Bank
M&B,
Stadium.
some bullshit stadium. But Greggy, again, if you're a Browns fan and the way that the Ravens are starting off this season, let's go ahead and pull that up and see how exactly what the Ravens are going through. But right now, Cincinnati on top,
Ooh.
Kansas City 13-10, looking pretty good here.
Yeah, they just got a turnover. Just got a pick on Mahomes. And then first play after the interception gets blown up in the backfield. Their run game's going to be pretty suspect this year. But Mahomes Burrow tries to do a little dump off on the screen there, and it gets blown up.
Jeez, look at that again. New capping around the NFL, 44-19. The Saints over the Cowboys. How the heck?
There's a lot of week one frauds, on both sides. You got frauds that win and frauds that lose in week one. And sometimes they reveal themselves in week two, and sometimes they continue to be frauds. Like the Ravens. Look, they're 0-2. What a start. What a start to the year for the Baltimore Ravens.
Definitely something that they're not used to.
No.
As I
That's a
believe-
great franchise, but fuck
As I
Baltimore.
believe this is the first time the Ravens started off 0-2 since 2015. Raiders able to come up big in a 26-23 victory over the Ravens. Ah, that feels good.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Damn expansion team.
Well, Jimmy Harbaugh's 2-0 though. Chargers 2-0 start to the season.
Did you see that
Ravens,
video of
0-2
him?
start.
He's him trying to psych up Justin Herbert in week one, and he's pounding on his pads, and like Herbert's not catching on to what Coach Harbaugh is doing. He's trying to turn his back to him and walk away. It's like, no, I had no clue what he was doing to me. It's like, come on, you get into it.
Where did you guys say that the Ravens play at? What they call that stadium?
M&T Bank Stadium, isn't it? That's what it was.
Not according to Instagram of the Browns. I just seen this post on there.
What's it called now?
They forgot the L.
Oh, that's the Jags Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. You're wrong. I was looking at that picture Tommy sent me earlier.
Trevor L. Bank Stadium.
Oh my gosh.
The undefeated social media team.
Oh, beautiful.
It's amazing how little we had to talk about during a Browns win compared to a Browns loss.
I mean, we can break it down more. We can talk more about it. I mean, you can go over stats, but it's kind of boring. I like talking about the nuances of the game. Like when you talk about, you can break down stats.
I have been
any day
waiting
of the
for this moment my
But-
whole life.
right now the Browns have a few hot button topics that are kind of like polarizing, and they're gravitating. They pull people in. The Deshaun Watson thing right now is something that everybody wants to talk about.
Greg, I think you can shut down the very expensive Tommy Tron 5000 for this week. Unless you got something else to go over.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
Any more hot buttons to go over as we move on? The what? Oh yeah, this we talked about not having much to say during a win as much as we do a loss. I mean, there are different type of headaches that they just came out with in the medical dictionary. You see the definition right there.
I mean, it stressed you out watching that game because at the beginning of it, you're like, yeah, all right, we're winning. And then they come in after halftime. It's like, well, what happened? Where's that team? Where's the team that played in the first half? Drives you nuts.
They came down to the wire. It really did.
It was scary.
Definitely scary, yeah. Especially like how we talked about the refs helping them out there, just backing them away from field goal range, and just trying to get the ball back to Jacksonville there.
Ridiculous. There's 2 penalties on that last drive.
How many penalties in that last drive? At least 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it was 3, if not 4. Just it was insane.
It just felt like every time they'd run a positive play, they were like, "No, come on back here. No, come on back here. No, we're gonna keep this a close game because the point spread is this much, and we need to." No. Every time that happens, I always think, I wonder one of these guys got some money on this game through a cousin or through a nephew or something. Hey, nephew, you don't know. You're a distant nephew that nobody knows you're related to me. Hey, how about we put some money on this game? I don't know. I hate to imply that kind of stuff, but sometimes it's like, man, what is going on right now? Like that last drive where they just kept going back. Every time they'd run a play, there was a penalty. It just kind of felt a little bit like, all right, what's going on? Like, what's really going on here?
There's always those storylines, just like in this KC and Cincinnati game. They keep just cutting over to Travis Kelce on the bench for what reason?
So they can show Taylor Swift, who's in the press box.
They can show that haircut and mustache combination. He looks like he turns off his body cam when he's on patrol. That's what that looks like. Travis Kelce's rocking.
What's that cop show where they used to ride the motorcycles? Chips.
Yeah.
He looks like he belongs on that show as like an extra.
You said it's time to go ahead and shut down the
Very expensive.
Tommy John 5000.
Is that Mr. Dink?
Yes.
From Doug.
Very expensive.
90s Nickelodeon cameos.
That's so funny. Very expensive.
Legends of the Healing Temple next week.
Oh, God, that's so good.
You know, we should get one of those, like the monkey statue, and see how fast we can put it together.
I said we should business expense that Simpsons house. Watch a couple episodes of The Simpsons and put together the Simpsons Lego house.
There's a lot.
I think that'd be fun.
There's a lot of shows that are going to be busting back out here as the year goes on, as we get the Dawg Pound Pressbox back underway. Week 2 in the book. So Nate and Browns 1-1, eating that dub.
Man, don't.
Huh?
What you gotta do that for?
Jameis Winston, he came up big in a huge 4th down situation too.
Big time win. Yeah, Jameis Winston on that first down. 4th down quarterback sneak. I like that play design by Stefanski the first time, though. You know, that big play by Jerome Ford. What was that? A run for like 40 yards? Something like that. 40, 50 yards? They had lined up like they were going to quarterback sneak it, and then they handed it off to him. He took off the left side.
So who do you give this one to, Nate? Is this a all-around win for the Browns? Was it the defense that showed out, or did you think that it's just a pretty clean win against who knows, maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars? Are they pretenders? Are they not a very good team? Or
No, honestly, I think the Jags, their game plan probably had to change quite a bit when Evan Ingram went down in the pregame, because that was their starting tight end. They practiced all week with him. He goes down in the pregame with an injury, injures his hamstring. He's out for the game in like a warm-up. That probably changes their game plan a little bit, but I don't know if that really led to what happened. I think that defense just really clamped down. I feel like after that week 1 challenge,
I'm not stroking, I'm yawning.
they were like, all right, we got to do something about this. And they came out, that first half was like a statement by that defense. And I feel like if anything, you can chalk this one up to a defensive win because you only gave up 13 points to what some would say was supposed to be an explosive Jaguars offense.
And they scored.
So you got a touchdown, you got a few field goals, you got a safety defensively. I feel like this win, you can give the game ball to the defense today. I think player of the game today, who you got for player of the game, Tommy? I think you almost have to give it to the whole defensive line.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to give it to one guy.
Jefferson, he had some pretty
Bajorquez.
Oh, yeah.
I
for
like
sure.
Bajorquez.
The coffin kick.
I think that, honestly, if I had to give it to somebody, that'd be my guy right now because
Tommy was ready to buy his jersey after that one.
that was a heck of a kick, man. Especially because it hit at the half-yard line and skipped sideways. You don't see punts do that very often, so.
It'll be a good feeling. Greggy, I did forget how we're going to be feeling rolling into Monday. You do need to pull up the Tommytron 5000.
One more time.
Which,
Do we have enough in the budget to fire it up again?
I don't know. I had to look around here for some pocket change.
Hang on.
Let me
But-
see here. Let me see if we can.
That just shows you how
I gotta ask the guys in the back real quick.
how expensive
Hang
it
on.
really is.
I think we have an extra generator we can fire up if we need to.
Yeah, all right. Let's take a look here. So we'll pull it up here.
I think last time we left Jacob Ellis in the floor as
There it is.
there it is. So again, Greg, do you have how us Browns fans will be sliding into Monday feeling
All right, where's
with
it
the
at?
dub?
All right. This is exactly how we pull it off.
Get up! Oh no!
Right there.
Don't tell me! I think we're
Oh, it feels so good, dude.
Feeling cool.
No, he's
Feeling
the sunglasses. It's the most
All right,
electrifying
now it's not Ric Flair, but
It's
still.
sports entertainment today. The people Exclamation point!
Going in
people's
against 0-2 New York Giants. Nate, how you feeling about that game?
Especially at home.
Shut it down.
That's going to be, yeah, you better turn that off. It's getting a little pricey on the electric bill.
Pricey on the electric bill.
I'm just saying, keep that thing running.
I don't think he has a transition out, does he? It just goes to the next
Ooh,
scene.
you're calling out the wizard? You don't think he's got something?
What's his problem now?
He says he don't think you got to transition out.
Transition out.
What happens when
I
you
might
shut
not
down
have,
the
but I got
Tommy
something else for you here, Tommy. You can go ahead and eat on this. No.
No.
Yeah, baby, that's how we end the Monday. That's
He
how we
really
end
did
Sunday
do
with
that.
victory right there, baby.
I saw it on the podcast. I didn't know he actually did it in like on camera. God, he was like mid knuckle suck. What the hell, dude? Gosh, that's a little.
Good Lord.
Man, that's a little zesty.
That's so good. All right, folks, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Once again, the Dawg Pound Pressbox live here on Heart of Ohio Sports. We'd like to thank the wizard Greg Kinn for his role in keeping the Tommytron 5000 operational this week, and keeping us looking good always.
Very good job. In fact, one of the best. Tell everybody he's the greatest.
I talked to many guys that ran these shows, all 5-star generals, producers. They said, nobody's better than you, Wizard.
Nobody.
Nobody's better than the wizard. I said, Gandalf, who? No.
Gandalf who?
Merlin, any of the other wizards, the Perry Potter, talked to J.K. Rowling. Well, not a big fan. Not a big fan.
Not
of
a
Greggy.
big fan.
She
And
said,
Black
why
Sabbath-
does he got long hair?
Black Sabbath song. Who's ever heard of this band?
He's got long hair and tits, so I can't be a fan of him. A little questionable. I said, J.K., he's fine. He's a good wizard. Not the kind of wizard you don't like.
All right, folks. Once again, for Tommy Hall and Greg Kinn, I'm Nate Mullins signing off here on the Dawg Pound Pressbox, live on Heart of Ohio Sports. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy this Browns win!